Welcome to the Full Nielsen. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Spitfire 3X Prism scope from Vortex, and I'm going to be reviewing that along with the Burris AR-332 Prism scope and the Burris AR-536 Prism scope. Those two I don't have here on the table because I have gotten rid of them. I'm going to talk about that. Anyway, I'll be reviewing these, telling you the differences between them, whether or not I recommend any of them, all that type of stuff. So let's get into it. All of these prism scopes I just mentioned feature, they're a rifle scope. They're not a red dot. They have an etched reticle. They all have the capability of being illuminated, battery powered illumination here that you can turn on or off. And they are all fixed power, either 3 power or 5 power. The Burris 536 is 5 power, while the 332 is 3 power, and the Spitfire 3X is also 3 power here. There is one other offering which I also have experience with, which is the Spitfire 1X, and in my opinion it is better than any of the rest of them, including this one, at least for me. So I want to talk about the biggest difference between these three. I found that in terms of how robust they are and in terms of the illumination, the optical quality, that they all seem to be pretty much comparable. That Burris's offerings are comparable to this offering from Spitfire. The biggest difference I noticed is the reticle. And the reticle from Vortex looks like this. It's a nice fine crosshair with hash marks for holdover. I believe the first mark is for 100 and 200 yards, then the second mark is 300, the fourth is 400, and then 500. Anyway, I didn't find any difficulty in using the hash marks at all. We shot this optic successfully out to 500 yards, and I could hit no problem out to 400 yards every shot, piece of cake. 500 yards, it was probably maybe 80% of them or so were hitting. Beyond that, 600 yards, something like that, you're going to start having a lot more misses, I suspect. So this is what the reticle looks like with the Viper, and this is the Spitfire, and this is the reticle Burris is offering, and this is their, oh man, I want to say it's called their CMQ reticle. I don't remember exactly what the name of the reticle is that they put in that AR-332 and the 536, and they even put it in some of their 1 to 4 power rifle scopes. But this is what the reticle looks like that they put in theirs. I hate this reticle. To me, it obscures too much of the target. I don't know how big this center dot is, but if I had to guess, I'm guessing that this dot here might be like 1 MOA. I don't remember. But I will just say that it obscures a lot of the target, not to mention this big bold ring they have here obscures a lot of the target. Now some people may really like that because they'll say, oh, well, for close quarters or something like that, you want this big bold reticle. The problem with that argument is that this is a fixed 3 power optic, which means close quarter, unless you have a lens cap on the front and you have both eyes open so you can superimpose this big bold circle, close quarter is almost non-existent for these optics, which is one of the drawbacks of them, in my opinion. If you're shooting, 10, 20 feet home defense distances, fixed 3 power is not good. So I don't like this. I don't buy this. Oh, it's for close quarter. I don't know what they were thinking with that. I hate that. It obscures too much of the target, and then these dots are, I found, also difficult to hold on to the target, especially when we got to where we were shooting at 500 yards or so. Trying to keep, pick your target out and hold it inside that dot is a nightmare. It obscures, because this obscures so much of your target, you can't hardly even tell. If they just get rid of this big ring, that would be a good start. But in my opinion, they need to do something better altogether. I would do something more traditional, just hash marks or whatever, but I hate the reticle on the Burris. Price-wise, the Burris retails for anywhere from $230 to $250, where the Vortex retails from $280 to $350. So is the Vortex worth the extra money? In terms of glass quality, no. In terms of the illumination, no. In terms of holding zero or the robustness, no. It all comes down to the reticle. And for me, it is worth it for this reticle. I like this reticle so much better than this reticle. If you wanted to take this fixed 3-power coyote hunting or something, I think you'd be able to be pretty successful out to 400 yards or so with this reticle. I think you'd have a hard time doing that with this one. That's my personal opinion. Some of you guys may love this reticle and may like it a lot, but I'm just telling you guys what I think. I'm not a fan of this reticle from Burris. So, I've talked about, the build quality and stuff like that on them all being great. No problems with any of them holding 0, stuff like that. Yeah, it's the reticle for me. Now, there are 2 other things I want to discuss. One of them is the eye relief. The eye relief on these, I have found I have to run them all the way back pretty much on my AR, mount them as far back as I can, and then I have adequate eye relief with the AR-332 and with the Spitfire 3X I have here. But with the Burris 536, the eye relief is abysmal. Even with it mounted as far back on the rifle as it will go, and the rifle stock collapsed in as far as it will go, the eye relief was horrible. Like you'd have to still crane your neck forward or gooseneck forward to utilize the optic properly. That's unacceptable for me in an optic at any price range, so I would never even consider the 536. That's my opinion. That's what I didn't like about it. So, now the last thing I want to discuss is, should you buy the Spitfire 3X or should you buy any of these Prism scopes? And in my opinion, you should not buy any of them that are over 1 power magnification. And the reason why is because it handicaps your ability to use the optic at close range. And there are other offerings that you can use at close range and at distance. Now, Vortex does make a Spitfire 1X, and I have used that, and I think it is an excellent option. And I even think it's a good option against a red dot. And the reason for that is because it features illumination. The reticle is etched into the glass, so if for some reason the illumination doesn't work or your batteries die, you still have a perfectly functioning optic. And if it's at nighttime and you have a flashlight on your rifle or something like that, no problem, even if the reticle's just black. I've done it, looks great. That is not an issue at all. So in my opinion, I like that hybrid design of being able to have an optic that will be there even if, all the electronics are fried in your thing. Doesn't matter, you're still going to have a working optic. And the Spitfire 1X does that. The 3X and the 5X, between the 3X from Vortex and the 5X from Burris, or the 3X from Burris, they are not good for close range at all. They're virtually useless at close range, in my opinion. You can close the front lens cap, turn the illumination on, and then you can see the reticle, and there's no magnification, and your one eye will superimpose the image over the target, and you can use them that way, but I just don't recommend that. If you actually want something that you can use for hunting and for home defense and stuff like that, the solution I found that I believe to be far superior is a 1-to-4 power rifle scope. With this 1 power rifle scope, it's 95% as good as a red dot is at close range, unless you're running night vision or something like that. But if you're just running flashlight on your rifle or something like that for inside use, it's 95% as good as a red dot, in my opinion, at close range. And it is better than a red dot or a fixed 1 power optic for anything beyond 30 or 40 yards. It's better, in my opinion, in every way. It is more precise. It's just a better optic. You'll really notice it, especially when you get out to long range. This optic, you can take and use it at point blank. You can turn the illumination on, or if you need to, if it's dark or whatever. And then you can also take this thing and shoot 600 or 700 yards with it if you know what you're doing, which I'll probably put to some shooting videos together later this summer. I suspect I will be able to shoot this optic without much trouble out to 1,000 yards. And that's because it has adjustable turrets and some other things that you obviously don't get on a fixed power optic in the same way, that are repeatable and stuff like that you can use for long range precision shooting. Anyway, so in my opinion, this is a much better all-around option than this is. And if you need something for home defense, get the 1 power version of this or get a red dot. If it's only going to be used for home defense or nothing, much beyond a couple hundred yards, red dot is fine. This is just better for anything at extended ranges, and it only sacrifices a teeny bit at closer ranges, which is, you know, it may not be quite as handy to use. I haven't found any issues at close range. The eye relief is really forgiving. The eye box and stuff's really forgiving. I haven't had any issues with it using it at close range, and at long range it is much better. So that's my opinion on these fixed power prism scopes. The other thing is right now you can get stuff like these 1 to 4 power PSTs. I paid $325 for mine, and I've seen them as low as $300. And this optic is right in that price range. The glass on this is much better. It is much better. To me, it looks twice as good as what this one looks like. And the eye relief and stuff is way more forgiving. It has more features. It's just better in almost every way for my intended use. Anyway, so that's my opinion on these optics. If I had to rate the Spitfire against its competitors, which are the Burris AR-332 and the 536, because of the reticle alone, in my opinion, it is superior to either of the other two. Now, if you want to talk glass quality and all of that, those other ones are on par. It just is the reticle for me is much better on this one than it is on the other ones. But out of all of the Prism scopes, the 1X is the one to get, not this, or not the 332 or 536. That's my opinion on this particular scope, and that concludes my review. If you guys have any questions or comments about this particular optic or the AR-332 or 536, feel free to leave those questions in the comment section below, and have a nice day. Thanks for watching.